How'd you meet Ross?
Ross and I met through a good mutual buddy of ours, Che Genoway, who's also part of the team. And Che and I were roommates in high school. We played on the same high school and college hockey team at North Dakota, and then went on to our pro careers. And then Che worked with Ross and his brother for quite a while, and then I got introduced that way.
How long ago was that?
I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. Ross and I crossed paths.
So that was when he was really heavy into the CO2 theory.
Yeah, I think as Ross can talk about, he's had his own journey and just coming to his understanding, the way he sees the body, the way he sees health and performance, and where we're at right now. Obviously, CO2 plays a pretty big part in that.
When did you feel like you wanted to be involved in this? Because he had talked about, I had asked him why he wanted to even start a company like this, a product company. And his answer was that it was really the people he was working with urged him to do it. Because what made you want to be involved, or what did you see?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to take too much credit there, but I definitely will say I was one of the people that urged Ross to move forward with a business of some sort. I think for the longest time, the more I got to know Ross as a person, the more I understood his view on health and the body and metabolism, performance, and all these things that are just fundamental to life. The more I got to just know how truthful and authentic and genuine he is as a human being, and he's everything but someone who's going to push something that is not good for you, or that he doesn't believe in, or that he hasn't experienced for himself. He's quite the opposite. And I think as time went along, I think he probably, on some level, him and I, we haven't had that conversation in depth, but my understanding is that there was a lot of things that we've done and we've worked on that I've incorporated with his guidance and his knowledge. But at the end of the day, with the CO2 and its role in not only how you breathe and how you get energy in the cell and how you recover, all these aspects to just cellular energy and metabolism, CO2 plays such a central role to that. And I think if I know Ross well, he's the kind of guy who knows how to kind of cut the fat and get down to the things that truly matter. And I think that's a big reason why he went in that direction. So I think when he decided that he wanted to start a business and come out with this product that's geared around CO2's role and all those things, I was all about it, just because of how central and how pivotal it is to so many different aspects of your health.
Yeah, just having a 1 hour conversation with him expanded my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As far as the function of cells, did you already have that awareness, like in having those discussions? Like, do you get exposed to a lot of that stuff?
I mean, I'm learning day by day. I think every time I hang out with Ross, I'm learning something new, and at the same time, I feel like over time I'm just able to absorb more and more. I've never been the kind of guy who really gravitates to biology or chemistry or the understanding of those things. It definitely was not my strong suit in high school, but the more I hang out with Ross and the more I learn from him, the more I'm able to absorb it, just at least philosophically, like what's going on in your body when you eat, when you process energy, when you break things down into cell nourishment, like what's happening when you're exercising, what's the stress response, what are we trying to do when we recover, all these things that kind of play in, and not only the things we put in our body, but just how we process emotions and thoughts and just feelings about the way we view life and our perspective on the things that we love and we're passionate about. All those things play play a role in what goes on in our body. So to me, Ross is one of those guys that's just so genuine and really truthful in his understanding of those things, but he also walks the walk. And I think to me, his commitment is into that understanding, into like being the thing, is probably one of the most important things that I recognize in him too.
So let's talk about the products just for a little bit, as far as the suit and the paste and just the products within the Aeir portfolio today. Because he talked about expanding to even the breath work and stuff. How does that fit in your life right now? How often do you use it, or do you still use it?
Well, right now I'm in the process of training every day, preparing for another season this year. And I'll come home after a workout and skate, and then have lunch, and then I'll sit in the suit from anywhere from 1 to 2 hours. Sometimes I'll pass out, have a quick nap, or just chill, fire off, get back to some people and texts and emails and do the little things that I need to do, and I can just kind of chill. And the biggest thing I notice, especially when I'm kind of going hard, at least for me and my personality, it's when I'm on, but sometimes it's hard to turn it off. And the second I sit in the suit, it's just like that natural calming feeling just happens almost instantly. So I think, there's times where it powers you up and gives you energy and kind of activates your system and your nervous system a little bit. But at least for me, with the way I'm using it now, when it comes to recovery, it helps me tap into that parasympathetic system where I'm relaxing and not thinking too hard about anything, and just like let my body really relax and recover the way it knows how to.
And as far as recovery, so recovery is like part of your life, part of your job. Do you track this stuff, like across the board, or are you able to actually like see the numbers change when you use the suit or any of these products?
Yeah, I mean, here and there, I'm not super, there were times in my life or my hockey career where I was like really diligent about tracking sleep, and you throw the ring or the band on, whatever it is, you try different stuff. Right now I wear a watch to track my sleep at night, and more often than not, I can definitely correlate what I feel to the numbers that pop up. And as I mentioned before, I think just the more I use the suit, the more I make space in the day to be able to like really slow things down and calm my nervous system down. And sitting in the suit like that, there's absolutely a connection to better sleep and waking up refreshed. I mean, sometimes if I'm not in a rhythm and I'm not in the routine of using it, it's like the more I get sore, the more my body gets stressed. It's like it's harder to wind down at night. My sleep's not as good. And then as the week goes along, it's just kind of like a negative cycle that kind of compounds itself. But I find using the suit, I can just keep going throughout the week, and I'm not really, I wouldn't say by Thursday or Friday the wheels are falling off. I definitely feel just as strong and just as ready to stress my body in the gym and on the ice as I would be on Monday.
Cool. For on the company aspect, how have you seen the company evolve over, since Ross really committed to building a company, building a product line, introducing the paste as a product?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been there day to day, and there's been moments where I've been a part of the meetings and the phone calls, and trying my best to keep up to speed. So I will say this: everything is moving a lot faster than I ever thought. It's really cool to see, and I think at the end of the day, it's a real testament to how powerful this product actually is. And sometimes when it can do so many things, you don't really know where to start. And sometimes people maybe need to know why they're using it or how it's helpful for them and their lifestyle. And We obviously know as for athletes, it's incredibly helpful, not only for performance, not only for calm and rest and recovery and breathing, but for performance and oxygen delivery on the other side of things as well. But again, there's so many ways that people can use the suit or the paste, and so it's been kind of cool to see it take off in different ways, and it's one of those things that's really exciting to watch because you don't really know which direction it's going, although it's really catching a lot of momentum with people already.
Do you think there's you just talked about how applicable it is for so many things. Do you think it could be misjudged because it's applicable to such a wide range of application? We talked, for example, it's super safe. Mm-hmm. You can't overdose on this. It's great for your skin. It's great for injury. It's great for anxiety, mental health, sleep. Like, it starts to sound like this magic pill. Like, just as the world keeps on filling up with these magic solutions that we get exposed to and they become our options. Like, how have you come to understand like CO2, which when I brought it up to other people, they're like, you mean the stuff that we breathe?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like how do you explain it to other people?
Well, I mean, I think that's the funny thing is, in the world of supplements and holistic medicine and all these different things, it's kind of become an extension of Western medicine in a way where we want something out here to fix our ailment, and it's almost like we don't really want to acknowledge our responsibility in that healing process. And I'll fully admit that I don't believe in any sort of magic pills that solve all your problems. Obviously, anytime you go through any sort of health challenges or any challenges of that sort, it's usually a great opportunity to recognize where you can understand yourself and understand the situation you're in a little bit better, and ultimately learn from it. I think in the case of the role of CO2 and what the suit and the paste really does to me, again, I think it's so powerful because it's so central and fundamental to like the very basic aspect of our health on the cellular level. So at the end of the day, to me, I'm learning something new every day when it comes to this sort of thing. And for me, whether it's doing the rebreathing or breathing exercises or sitting in the suit or using the paste, to me, it's a constant reminder that you start it with the basics and the fundamentals, and you go from there. So I think whatever your goals are in health or performance or sleep, or maybe you're trying to heal something, again, there's no magic approach that's going to solve all your problems, but with CO2, it covers so many bases in that way too.
As you're kind of getting ready for season start and travel starts up again, is this something that you travel with, or is it in the locker room or anything? Like how? I
mean, I never had the opportunity to bring the pace on the road, but I definitely will now. So.
Yeah, so the paste is new. So are you exclusively using the suit, or do you use the paste a lot?
Yeah, I do both pretty much every day at this point.
For muscle soreness, or just kind of walk me through.
Well, I don't want to give away all my secrets, but the paste is definitely a big part of the skincare routine at this point, and it's a work in progress, obviously. But for muscle soreness, any inflammation, had a little minor thing with my knee recently, and just applied it every single day, and things just progressively got better. So. I think it's just one of those things that, I'm a big guy. I'm big on consistency. Like, there was a time in my hockey career where I was willing to try anything and everything, regardless of what the research said or the data said, like I was willing to give it a shot, and I think I've kind of veered back towards simplicity and at least focusing on like the big needle movers, the things that really have an impact and things that I can do every day that if you do it every day for 2, 3, 4 months, you're going to notice a pretty big difference down the road. So as we mentioned, like this is so easy to use every single day, and it's something that you can work in your routine, and it doesn't take a whole lot of effort.
So as this company continues to grow, what do you think that does to either, say it gets adopted into a lot more locker rooms or millions of households? Because that's the goal. How do you see that changing the conversation? Just like you said, like people are willing to try everything, and then simplicity is ultimately kind of how that narrows. Do you see people cutting out a lot of stuff that they're trying if this gets adopted in their household?
Yeah, I could see, and again, everyone's on their own journey, so to speak. Regardless of whatever your goals are, I think that's where I'm a little bit more apprehensive to push certain things on people that have worked for me. Just having compassion for where people are at and what their understandings of what's helpful to them. Because again, the mind is a powerful thing too. And so everyone's got their own journey of learning and exploration when it comes to this stuff. But I think, anyone who's open to it and wants to understand the science of this better, I think will not only see the impact and also see results like pretty much right away, but I think over time they'll have a better understanding of their own health and their own body and just by incorporating this sort of thing in their routine.
Is that how you started simplifying or cutting stuff out? Is it kind of based on feeling, or when as you've developed into the routine that you have now, what were those deciding factors as far as you like narrowing the elements that fit in your routine?
Well, I mean, I've had my moments too where I've learned some lessons, and as we get older and a little bit wiser, we also realize in some cases less is more. Just keeping life simple, being around people that you care about, doing the things that you love to do. Those are huge pillars in just living a healthy, happy life. And for me, I was able to kind of realize all the excess, all the things that I was overdoing, all the energy that was just like spending and overcompensating in some ways that wasn't really doing me any favors. And I think working with a product like this is a big part of that simplicity as well. And I think it, as I mentioned before, it hits so many different bases. And so for me, that's something that's definitely worthwhile.
What were some of the signals where you started recognizing it wasn't doing any favors? The reason I ask is because the percentage of somebody's income now that somebody spends on, if we just talked about supplements, for example, like the ratio spend of supplements to how much they spend on food for the family, it just keeps on creeping in. Like there's always another supplement, or there's always another device. I spend a lot of energy and income just on personal health. It's just a family value within the family. And I've been through, there are devices that now sit in the garage that I'll never use again. Some that they were like hot at the time. And it was like $1,000 spend at the time, but the soreness never necessarily went away. It was almost like there was a distraction there for 30 minutes of using the device, and I thought it felt good, but it was probably more of a placebo effect. So I got to experience I got to really rely on my feelings and kind of tie it to performance when I would be competing in different events, whether that's going to be a race or something. And the more I would invest it didn't change the performance necessarily. It didn't make me feel better on race day and whatnot. So I guess I was just asking to understand, were you able to evaluate things on a value of like a digital measure, or were you just kind of like me, where you started to recognize like a feeling? Like you would, because you can generally feel when you have the energy in the moment and how many days you have that energy. Like you can kind of recognize the pattern over time. You can't really tell if a new supplement's working that first day or even that first week, but it's kind of that graduation over time where you start to simplify on the things that work. I was just wondering if there was, because of your lifestyle, if there was any other measure, or you kind of came to that conclusion of simplicity.
Yeah.
Like I did.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's an interesting perspective, I guess. And I guess I'd have to say I agree in a way, because there was a time in my younger self, as I said before, like I was willing to do anything and everything to gain that inch, to gain that edge. You know, as they say, sometimes youth is wasted on the young, and that couldn't be truer in that case, because you know, I had a couple teammates I was close with, and you know, that's pretty much all we would talk about, is how to feel better in games, but how to recover better, and how to be better down the stretch, late in seasons when you're playing a lot of games, and the playoffs. Like the NHL seasons, it's a marathon, right? And if you don't take care of yourself, it can really catch up to you. But at the same time, I was just taking ungodly amounts of supplements and doing all these different modalities, and to the point where it's like, if I really think back to it, it's almost not surprising that my body would be confused and not knowing what's doing what. And I was just kind of throwing things at the wall to see what would stick, essentially. And so anyways, as I've kind of grown up and had a better understanding of myself, and also like what I enjoy, what I love to do, what I want out of life, what I want my normal day to look like. It doesn't involve doing a million different things, and it kind of became an addiction in a way of I need to do all these things in order to feel a certain way, and there was like a dependence there. So I think, you know, that understanding in and of itself, of just keeping things simple. You know, the other expression that comes to mind is, I can't remember who said this, but it was like something like, first do no harm, you know, and if I can really boil things down to eating the best food, maybe having a couple supplements that are really like central and monumental to adding to what I'm eating and consuming, that can really help. And also just having space in my day for like stillness and quiet and boredom, or just spending time with friends. Just not always needing to do something, which I just feel like our world, we're so bombarded with action and information, and it's constant. And if you get roped into it, we can be addicted to that as well. And I don't think it certainly was not healthy for me. So again, tying this back into my understanding of the breath and of CO2 and its role in the cell and how you deliver oxygen, whether it comes to performance, recovery, sleep, calming the system. To me, it's integral to all that, because it helps me really slow down and just feel that stillness and listen to my body, and I can kind of make sense of like what's good and what's not good, and just kind of work my way from there.
Yeah, I love what you just said there too.
I don't know if that answers your question or not.
No, you did. And what I love that you just said too is the applying the filter of the wave of recommendation and all the new vocabulary words that kind of enter everybody's vernacular.
Yeah.
Like whenever there's a new supplement to take, there's new vocabulary words that are on the tip of everybody's tongue, and you kind of see it wash over the internet really quick.
Yeah.
Where at a cell, like the application of this is at a cellular level. Like the information it's not brand new either. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes these supplements, the information, it's pretty gray. Like you'll see experts on both sides.
Right,
Like one,
right.
you know, discounting. This is very straightforward.
100%.
It's been around since we've existed. So that filter of education, I think, it's just really necessary, and that does take time to adopt and to kind of like sift through on our own, right? Because we are generally adopters when we're young, like quick to adopt, and then we get a little bit wiser as we get older. I also think we even start to recognize, it's easier to recognize when you're good, like a little later in life. As I was competing into my 30s, I knew when I was going to have a good day. Like it was really recognizable. And I also started to recognize how quick I can have a bad day, right? So this education that you've gained from being friends with Ross, I think you feel like that's an integral part of the product that's required. Like your understanding of CO2 probably helps you make that commitment, right? So that honesty that Ross has around this, I recognize that in our conversation right away. Like there's just an honest core to how he's trying to educate people, and he's like really, really well studied. So having I guess the question I'm asking is, did you recognize that early when in the conversations of him evaluating building a company? What are your thoughts on him having exposure and being a founder and getting that Ross vocabulary out there?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just begin by, saying I've worked with too many practitioners, doctors, whatever you want to call them. And don't get me wrong, all good people, well-intentioned, and all doing their best to offer their expertise and their understanding. But I mean, when I met Ross, what struck me as so different was just his like sincerity and authentic, like just genuine approach to, like, again, boiling things down to just understanding the basics of like what's going on and in the body and just even like when we started working together, he would never charge me or nothing. Like he didn't want anything from me. He just wanted to help me, and he would come stay at my place in Chicago for weeks on end, and no plan for himself whatsoever, but just there to like help me every step of the way. And like just his approach to like helping people understand their own approach to their own health when they're going through something, that it's not just biological, it's not just chemical, it's emotional, it's environmental, it's things that we've inherited since patterns in our own behaviors that we've inherited since our childhood. It's the whole person, right? And so seeing how Ross was so committed to kind of walking that walk with you and helping you kind of come to these understandings at your own pace, just the patience, his commitment showed who he was as a person and showed like how much he actually knows like what's going on, and he exemplifies that every single day. So again, when he decided he wanted to come forward and start this business and put these products out to the world, like I was all in, not only because I believe in the products, but I definitely believe in who he is as a person.